2 of the fall circle burner contest. We're not going to be here much longer. We're going to try to get some footage. It actually turned out to be quite a nice day, but boy, this morning, the first round before lunch was brutal. We got round 2 of Navy carry going on over there, along with some flying lessons for a couple of juniors that we have in the club. They're taking advantage of the lunch break to have a little training session. With 2 engines is always cool.
With the New Hampshire flight card. Thanks for bringing the plans down.
No problem, no problem. Build it, you'll enjoy it. Good landing at last. Giving them middle of round 2 over at the Stunt Circle. Hey, go over there, have a hot dog and go over there and check it out. Uh-oh. Blind man out of gas. Sato 56. Now, earlier in the year, we had, in fact, we had it on tape, the 4-H club had about 20 or 21 people, I think, that built their own plane in a training program. And we have 2 of them here today that have completed their own model and actually gotten flights. This is one of the young men. There's 2 of them, and I think they're having they have a special award for them. Getting ready to fly his plane. Roy Wood just told me this is his first contest he's ever entered. Completes his flight, he's getting a nice round of applause. That is either a dead muskrat or it's Roy Ward's hat. Not sure what. That hat gets up and walks away, it's a muskrat. Otherwise it's Roy Ward's hat. As he gets a round of applause from the peanut gallery. You?
12.
12? That the first contest you ever entered? You better make sure they give you prize money. We only fly for prize money in this club. No trophies. We want cash, greenbacks, dineros.
Put it beyond these planes here. Let's roll Neil.
Neil's probably slob's in a little bit better shape than
Well, than Danny's. Danny's looks pretty beat up by now.
He's been around
for 10 years or something.
On the back circle intermediate.
In the back here, as the other circles are taking a break, is Peter Michael from New Hampshire. He's driven all the way down from New Hampshire, about a 6 or 7 hour ride here. He was on the phone with me yesterday. He didn't even know there was a contest, so that's pretty good dedication, just jump in a car. He is currently starting construction of a plane that I'm really excited about seeing if he finishes. A copy of the 40 Strega, the little 40 size Strega. That plans are available now. We saw one when we were in England. And it was just a real beauty. Boy, it really looked nice. It'll probably be out on our website within a month or so, as soon as I can get some pictures from Tony. Elliot's been trying to get some digital pictures for the site. It'll be a nice little step up from having a profile. But a lot of people don't realize, you know, Pete is quite a talented guy. I just think he just needs a little more motivation in some of the projects that he's chosen to work on. He would have been better off just building standard airplanes, but hey, that's what we're all. The part of this sport that's different than I think a lot of things is you really have a free handle to it. Like in Peter's case, he made his own wheels. Well, it's certainly, and in my book, a lot of people think the things I'm doing there, you know, why would anybody spend all that time making molds and doing this project or that project? Well, it's because we enjoy doing it. Les Demet, another good example of somebody who just is always challenged by new things. He fits the same profile. Now, I was talking to Jose Modesto before. He's going to try to make it down with another project that he's working on. He's trying to make a composite fuselage too. And I think he's going to be pretty successful because I think all he would need to do is borrow the molds that I've already made, make a part just to convince himself how, you know, what the highs and lows of making it are. And then make his own mold for the shape of the body that he wants. I think he wants like a PM looking body. Uh-oh, look at this. Look at what's just... The Lampion Man. Where are you? Lampion Man. Another one of the youngsters from the 4-H program competing in his first contest. And see, the problem is if we didn't have any of these young people, there'd be no future in the club because we're basically all getting too old for this stuff. I know I am. Little by little every year you just run out of energy or you run out of whatever it is that motivates you, and it's all part of the normal circle of life. It's good to see we have a few. Well, actually, we started out the year with 21. We're down to, I found about half that amount now, but that we actually have kids coming out and competing in contests, not just flying planes or building. And guys like Roy that are volunteering their time and effort to call to keep these programs going. We have one or two of the kids that even do maneuvers already. Oh, there we go. And that's the future of stunt. Without that, we're going nowhere, and that's a shame. And we need more kids at any price, just to get some kids involved. And there's the essence of the Garden State Circle Burner Club. They have their own trainer planes, their own qualified people helping. Mary, Mike Kajeski, Roy Ward. They all deserve a good pat on the back.
Okay. Right? Can you handle that, Dan? I think so. 10 level lots. It's a little hard to do.
Yeah.
Roy Ward will sit out there and give you...
Right, exactly.
What is that hat made out of? A dead rat or what?
No.
Did a car run that over at one time?
At least.
There's a dead possum somewhere missing half his body.
These things could do reverse.
Actually, that's a Richard Petty chapeau.
Yeah.
Yeah, he thinks he's a Richard Petty, all right.
Sure.
Richard Petty of Carrier.
And I'm Richard Burton, too.
Yeah. Do you want
fast, turn left.
Do you want
Okay, I call you Dick.
Do you want low-level inverted laps?
Whatever you want to do. There's 3 outside.
Stop fooling around and degrading our event.
I can't even.
Look at this.
Look at that fuel can, will you, Wendy?
Check this fuel.
It's almost as dirty as his Prowler.
You ever hear a Windex, Dan? You know what's funny? When I was in England, I asked them about Windex. The windows in Elliot's car were dirty. Go in a store, big grocery store, have Windex. The woman looks at me like, we don't wash windows in England. It rains every day. Why would anybody wash windows? There's no market for Windex.
Dan, we may not necessarily...
Danger, Will Robinson.
Danger. Warning. Alien presence.
Detected.
There's a beagle in the cockpit. Danger.
Keep in mind, because it's a pusher, you can't.
Facial spitting draw.
Okay, let's try that.
A little lower.
Okay.
Going to be able to stay the whole day, of course. We have bigger fish to fry back home. But yeah, we're back in the house. We didn't get to stay till the end of the contest. There's just too many things to do back at the shop, and I had to go through a bunch of stuff that needed to get shipped out today. Mike Costello just stopped by and dropped off this really neat magazine. I want to show you this. You know, as we're getting ready, the flying season is over now. All the flying is over. We're done. It's so cold out there, I don't even want to go outside. But this is one of the magazines that I've had, Air Classics, from time to time. I pick them up or people send them to me or we exchange them or flip them. This one is an extremely good one. I wanted to show you what Mike had in mind. Now Mike has already bought a B-26 or an A-26, I'm not sure, kit. Now, his original intention was, and I think when he bought the kit, and we're going to be talking to him about this project, he originally wanted to make it a scale model. He flies several events, and he thought it would make a great scale model. He bought this RC kit. Then he got to see the B-25 fly at our fall contest, the one we had on the paved parking lot in Palisade Park, and he says, hey, you know what, instead of making a scale kit, what he wanted to do is originally make a B-25 type wing, a Johnny Duncan foam wing from the B-25 templates, and then build the nacelles and the fuselage and have a Zetron in it, of course, from that kit. Well, I said, you know, before you jump at anything, let's think about it. So what he's going to do is, I don't know if he's going to do it one day this week or if the next time I'm over his shop, he wants to lay out the kit, and I want to lay out the plans for the B-25 and see if we can come up with what will amount to be a similar plane to the B-25 in the fact that it wouldn't have a scale wing, but everything else would be almost scale. And that would be and if you use this paint job, Feeding Frenzy paint job, I think it'd be really a cool project. And as I get older and as I get, I don't know, into the end of my stunt career, I just enjoy things like this that are very unusual, as opposed to things that are very, very the same as everybody else has. Needless to say, I count the B-25 adventure of the past year, which is now history, as just one of the most fun. There's just no way to describe that. And as we move on, we're going to be looking back at this year for years to come. I had to take a break and answer the phone here, but the point is, each project is unique, and it fills a little bit of the gap in my life, because see, my goal here is to have one of everything. And we've got a real competitive 4-stroke model. I like this as part of my Air Force. We of course have all the Spitfires up in a Spitfire bedroom. We have the original, one of the original composite wing planes. But where we're going this year is into the 40 size plane, again, because we just want something different. There's no real reason. And I'm not locked into any one thing. You can probably figure that out without me even saying. I really do like the way the 4-strokes run in warbird type planes. I like the way the tune pipes run in traditional planes. And most of all, I love the way the twins run in these. And we have 6 engines to test, but the odds are good we're not going to get much more testing, and the weather has really gotten rough. And in no way am I going to take this plane out on a day that isn't safe to fly it, because this is it's like having a Ducati. You just ride it on Sunday and then put it in the garage. Or you put it on your desk and don't ride it at all. Even safer. Anyway, back to that A26, because I think that's a cool project. Now, I've mentioned before, it's one of the projects that I keep pictures in the shop of all the time. It's one of the things that, in the back of my mind, see, the problem is if I could live forever, I'd start scheduling some of these things, but I know my time is limited. I know I just don't have the amount of life left. I just don't have 50 years left. So I've tried to narrow down the projects that I really think will be challenging. And this 40 ship, the way Les is designing it, I think is going to be a really unique and something pretty much any modeler could replicate. Well, if you're doing an A26, a B26, one of the things that would be cool is, and I'm just noticing this, is you could, this paint job is really one of the nicest ones for this model. You could do that nose that we all think of when we think of the P40, an all black paint job, the glass nose. But I really have to see I like this. There's 2 cameras there. Anyway, this is certainly something I hope Mike is going to be looking into and maybe even work with us on it. Maybe we'll see it on the upcoming year. A lot of times a project like this, you look at you get the inspiration for it anyway, and you think, wow, that's going to be difficult to build. And probably that's true, but as I look at this fuselage, and I look at these nacelles, I don't think it's a whole lot different than making a B-25, and that's certainly a doable proposition, as we've proved in the past year. One of the things that really does make it very practical is when you have a lot of documentation, you've got a lot of, I guess, ideas to work from. You've got a picture in your mind of exactly what you want to accomplish, which I had right from the beginning with the B-25, and with Dave Downey's help, that just became a reality relatively painlessly. And in this issue, there's some other things that I think are real interesting. Bruce Boland, who worked on the Red Baron, has a story about his accomplishments and some of his air racer technology. This Bruce Boland was part of the original Red Baron RB-51 project, which is an early picture where they didn't have the rudder. The rudder wasn't extended yet. You always can get some ideas from these magazines too, but basically some paint jobs, canopy ideas, lettering things you could use on the original Strega lettering came from the nose of Strega. Things you can use, on any model, even on a traditional model. And sometimes the thing you need most is just some ideas, something unusual, something to pique your interest. And once you make the commitment you're going to do it, then working through all the little problems, all the little things that you have to gather along the way to make it happen. If you're looking for an unusual project, or you're looking for some ideas for a paint job for that next stunt ship, I don't think there's a better place to get it than some of these magazines. Now, I remember a time when there weren't a lot of Reno air racers at the Nats. And And now I think it's one of the things we all accept as being including Paul Walker's beautiful Miss America, one of the things we accept as just another part of the world of stunt. As you look through the pictures of the magazine, I always get ideas. I don't know if I'm unique or if everybody does the same thing. I know Les will be looking at a magazine and say, oh yeah, that'd look good on many things that I always think. Al Raby's beautiful Mustang. Some of the paint jobs, the Invasion Strike, just Billy Warridge's P47. Some of the things, Paul's B17. Imagine when he made the B17, how many choices of paint jobs you had. It's just one big giant world of stuff. And I hope, that even through the videos you can pick up ideas, or if you have some magazines with some cool pictures, share them with us. If you'd like to share anything we have, needless to say, we're always glad to loan it out. Today's mail, too, is from our friend Al Raby. And it looks like he's doing a model of a Sea Fury here. This critical mass is a Reno Air Racing Sea Fury. Looks like we got about 12 hours of tape to watch. And we really appreciate this from Al. We'll be sending him some of our B25 stuff. And this is the kind of thing that I think is special about the hobby right now, is that through a medium of video, you can share your little information. I can share mine. We can go places that were unthinkable in the 50s and 60s and 70s when a lot of people chose not to share things. I think what happens now is one person starts the ball rolling and everybody wants to get on board with the share technology thing. I certainly do anyway. And I'm looking forward to watching these. In fact, Les is supposed to be here to work on the mold for his carbon fiber crutch. The wings have already been cut by John Duncan. So we're going to try to watch the video while we're in the shop, and the nice thing about the video too is you can play it over and over and over. So if you don't have a copy of this, why not just give Al a call, give me an email. I think it's one of the most, it's the most critical thing that's changed in the time I've been flying, is that people are much, much more willing now to just put all their tricks and tips on video. You can do it conveniently, inexpensively, and I think it just adds a giant dimension to the sport that wasn't there before. On today's mail, our real good friend Walt Brownell and his lovely wife Bert, they're sharing with us some of the things that I think are special about having subscriber type videos, and I guess videos in general, not just windy videos, is you can share parts of your life. Bruce Hunt has graciously shared it with us many times. Many other people have, of course. This is Walt Brownell's, and it has 2 4-cycles. It looks like 2 OS's. He flew this at the Nats, and there's a real nice picture in the current AMA magazine. Now this is a copy of, if I remember an old note that his dad flew the real prototype. And needless to say, my love of any twin engine planes is, I have just learned something this year that I would have never thought possible, just how much fun a twin engine plane can really be, especially when it's not working right, especially when you're having trouble with crazy things happening. Anyway, you can get a relative view of the size of this. And this is the part I really like. This is really cool. Now, everybody knows we have our little illustrious shop bird Chickadoodle. This is a picture of Angel. She attends contests. She weighs 64 ounces. I ought to leave the note on there, Will's note. Anyway, everybody knows I'm an animal. I'm not an animal lover. An animal sucker would probably be a better way to put it. But anyway, these photos were taken at Buda Park. The doggie will be a year old. She looks a little bit bigger than Peeps. Nice jacket, by the way. I just noticed the jacket. Anyway, we look forward to hearing more and more from Walt. He's one of the subscribers that goes way back. He's probably got 1,000 tapes by now. Anyway, we really do enjoy sharing the world that we live in and the world that we love through the videos. From Walt Brownell.
Just wanted to show what happens after you make, and we're probably looking at, we sell these all the time, these little exhaust manifolds of various thicknesses, and I try to make some thicker and thinner for people that want them wider and thinner. But what happens is you always reach a point at which, and this is the mold, the original mold that Ed Gallagher made. If you can look at it real close, it's starting to get dried out and pieces are chunking out of it. And this is the reason you always save the original plug. And now I'm just going to make another box. I'll do this off camera. I'll just make another box around this, and I'll have a brand new mold. I'm guessing we made 100, 150 pieces from this. Well, it's time to make another mold. But if you're only making 1 or 2 cowls for your own personal use or something like that, it's not a big deal. But in our case, because we've made so many of them, we've actually worn out the rubber. This is the 3rd or 4th one we've had. And even using that release agent, there's always just, in time, the rubber seems to dry out. Little chunks come out of it. It's just more cost effective just to make a new one. I'm going to make 2 little molds, just so I have an extra one. And by the way, while I'm doing this is kind of production-y work, I get to watch Al Raby's video. In the first couple of minutes here, it's captured my interest already. As what he's doing in the beginning of the first tape is converting, actually showing a technique that Dave Downey did with the B25 of converting the actual scale drawing into what amounts to be the semi-scale drawing, and in this case, it's the Reno Air Race version of the Seafire Critical Mass. Now Joe Adamusco has he's already got a wing drawn like this for his version of it. Anyway, it gives us something to watch. Again, we want to thank Al for all the information he's shared with us. I find it very interesting, very informative. Now, as we always do, and we're not going to go into great detail here, this is Smooth Sill 912. There's several different choices of rubber from Smooth On. But the only time I've ever heard of anybody not being able to make a nice little mold like this very quickly and conveniently, 2 problems. They didn't pre-finish the little parts so that they're nice and smooth and shiny. They really have to be shiny and waxed and polished. And that's not a big deal, because you would have to do that even if you carved a piece out of balsa wood. But the other thing to really avoid like the plague is thinking the material is mixed. In this case, it's a 10-to-1 mix. And I sit here and I mix it up. Actually, I've been watching Al's video with as he's going through on this critical mass. But when you think it's mixed, and right now, yeah, an average person might say, "Oh yeah, that's mixed." You know what? Look at your watch. Oh look, I have a clock, a shop clock. 2 minutes more, and just keep stirring it like crazy. Now we're going to be doing a lot of work with molding in the near future, maybe tomorrow even. So I won't belabor this, but it's always good to be patient during the time. When you think that material is mixed, there's still little spots of it that, because it's a thick viscosity, it doesn't really mix as quickly as you think it does. And the other thing is to pour it very, very slowly. For any molding project. And by the way, just let me see all the extra air bubbles that are in here. It's always a good idea to just let it sit a few minutes. Again, that's why it's always good to have a little entertainment, some music, some video playing, or whatever makes time pass so you don't get impatient. Now the trick that I found is, in the course of making a lot of these little molds is just pour it nice and slow, and try not to kick the camera off the tripod. I really do appreciate the other people that are looking forward to Richard Oliver's videos. Actually, I'm looking forward to everybody that, even the home videos that Bruce Hunt has sent and several other people have sent, that sharing personal information. I just feel like we're a closer group and we enjoy the thing we do a little bit more. Just such a great medium. When you think of what it costs to take 24 still pictures and how much video you can do for 24 hours, you can, wow, 24 pictures, you can put hours of video. Anyway, you got to do this in steps because I want to get all the air bubbles out. So I'll do some on one side of the mold. I made 2 of these, of course. Do some on the other side, let it sit 10-15 minutes, let the air rise to the top. The idea is to get none of the air down actually near the part, and pop the air bubbles as they come to the top. And I remember, if I look back to the videos, I started doing this in 95, 96. And some of those original things I was using Art Supply rubber, and oh my God, I can't believe I did that. But hey, at the bottom, if I could have bought a video then showing how to do this and how to get all the air bubbles away from the part, yeah, I could have moved on a lot quicker. Let's hope that if you have any interest in molding, as many people do. In fact, we have Jose Modesto maybe coming by this weekend he's already been molding parts and he's got some ideas for new stuff he wanted to run by me. Always like to see people trying new things. Grigsby's been trying things, the Moon Brothers. A lot of people involved in this. And it, of course, is sitting right under a heating vent, and that's going to dry overnight. And we'll pull it apart tomorrow and see what the little plugs look like. I'm working on the rest of the day's production, the landing gear and the cowling molds and stuff. One of the things I really enjoyed, I really have super enjoyed, is how the part that Dave Downey does so well also is how he lays out the fuselage shapes from drawings and enlargements and stuff. Something that Dave did with the B-25, I just thought just an incredible job. And if that kind of a thing challenges you, well, I would say those videos from Al are just great. They really do have a lot of good information on them. And one of the things I did that I thought this was kind of an important thing, maybe you can even use this on other planes, is I have this little tray that I use on the Twin, on the B-25 of course, where I have the 2 little holes for the bag. By the way, this is about $2.50 from any of the little container stores. And it contains, over the time I've used the plane, I've kind of fine-tuned this. I had a cardboard box, I had another box, I had one that tipped over. Well, the important thing was, in this case, is to get the 2 heavy things, one on each side, so when you pick it up, it doesn't tip over. The other thing is I with ordinary thick CA, put in a thing for my glasses here, because what would happen is I'd be laying my glasses on the ground all the time while I'm fueling the plane, and they were getting scratched. So this nice, soft, fuzzy interior, got a place for the tack, and a place for the Zetron, which, as soon as we reinstall the jet motors, they're going to have the new carburetors on them, and we're going to be using this on every flight. We have the new battery coming from Sergio, a new heavy-duty battery, so it should last virtually more than I can fly in a day. But even a little upgrade like this, having a little organized thing. Now the other thing, and by the way, these are dry, they dried up nice. The other thing is I found, Joe Adamusco found this, I hate carrying around a gallon of fuel. So he found this, what amounts to be I think a 2-quart, and it fits the normal pumps. We're getting brand new pumps in. The person that was selling the Fuel Wizards went out of business. So we basically have contracted with a company to supply us with the pumps wholesale. We're going to make up some fittings. Les is going to be working on that project with me. And we're going to have some Pro Stunt pumps, I hope, real soon. And they'll, of course, fit in a 2-quart jar or in the gallon jugs. We'll see what's nice about this. Fits well. I got the pack in there now. Organizing this part of it is always a little bit, and that's one manageable thing, and all I need is the control lines. And then the only thing I need when I go to fly the plane, boom, and I'm ready to go. I'm going to have all the things, the electric start, possibly maybe even a glow plug wrench or something in there and a spare glow plug. But that turned out to be a nice little thing. We even have the, whenever I call Rich Jacob on the morning, this is Billy Mitchell. You ready for a bombing run? So he's named me Billy Mitchell. Anyway, that worked out well. That's a nice little accessory item to the B25 and something you can use for any model for $2.50. Little molds, these dried overnight. Usually the easiest way is just pull all the balsa wood off of them. We're not looking to save the boxes, although we're doing this enough now that what I think I'm going to do is make myself up one of those plexiglass box that you can use over and over, the boxes you can use over and over again. Now a lot of times when you get to the point here, because we didn't put any wax or any release agent on the wood, you can just carefully cut the wood away. Either way, it doesn't matter. It's just a question of pulling the material away until you've relieved a piece of rubber. Now, this is the point at which if you don't mix the rubber enough, you get to know about it. There's spots in here the size of jelly beans that'll be uncured, and you know next time, stir it even longer than you've been stirring it. There we go. Now, once we pull this out, we like to recover the plug, so again, we can use the plug over and over, although we're losing the wood on this. But the plug is still intact. That's a nice clean pull. Again, any way you can get the rubber around it. Now you could put wax on the box. Because this is such a small mold, I didn't even bother with that. You just take the wood away. Okay, and we're left with a brand new rubber mold. We'll do our first casting today when we do the molded parts that we do every day. You can always put a very light spray, a universal mold release. Let's get that number for smooth on if anybody really wants to call these people. Phone number 610-252-5800 if you're in Pennsylvania. And so we have another mold, nice and fresh now. The parts that'll come out of here will be the next 50, 60, 100 parts. They'll be in real nice condition. And we still have the plug. We can save the plug. Nothing, you can see there's probably one little dot there that I'll have to, when the part is cast, I'll just knock that out with a number 11 blade. The first piece out of the mold. And so this, you hope, will be, we'll get another 60, 100. If you use the release agent religiously, you probably could get at least 100 pulls out of it. If you don't use it, you probably get about 30. Now Les is going to come over today and make up the plug for the crutch. He just gave me a call, so he doesn't want me getting started on anything. We've already got the crutch made for our 65 Rojet. It's going to be very similar to this, but he's coming up with his own design that's going to match the curve of the 40 size fuselage, so that'll be very interesting. And we'll see when he gets here what he has in mind. Les is finally here. He's got a whole box of show and tell stuff, but I see the box is empty.
Good.
Now what'd you do with all that carbon stuff?
It's over there on the table.
Okay. All right, what are you going to do here?
All right, basically we're talking about laying up carbon fiber crutch. Pretty much the same as what you've been doing. This may be a little more involved.
Okay.
Basically it's designed so that it'll go into, it's a universal crutch for the 40. It'll go into virtually any airplane. If the airplane is thicker here, you just take some basswood, glue it onto the sides, and then cut the top profile in. Left room for some blocks in the front that can be epoxied on and then carved to shape down the spinner. I'd much rather carve basswood or balsa than I would carbon fiber.
So what was the first thing you did? You made up a little template here? You're going to make this whole part out of basswood?
We're going to make the whole thing out of bass,
okay,
and then we'll cast a rubber mold.
Where'd you get this, in the dollhouse store?
No, in
Or the art supply? Oh, art supply, okay,
Yeah.
so it's all basswood.
It's all bass.
Now, the material you make the plug out of is really irrelevant as long as you get a nice smooth finish on it.
Well, I think that when we get this down to whatever.
All right, so you're going to basically just make the plug out of basswood, then we're going to finish it with some kind of finishing material
Right.
and try to lay up a rubber mold for it today.
Right. Now, the one thing that I tried to do when I designed the crutch was make it so that it would accept any tank. In other words, you're not going to have to cut into carbon fiber in the cross members or anything like that to get, let's say, one of the clunk tanks in there, whatever.
You want a universal tank box.
Universal tank box.
Fits any tank ever made.
Exactly. So here we are.
Okay.
Now, you notice here we got some cross members at right angles. Basically what I've done is I've taken a plate that'll be the size, we'll make it up so that all we have to do is put our 8 square pieces in there and we'll be able to cut the overlaps and cut the beveled corners very easily. This is a jig just to make those cross members.
The thing Les did was he put a piece of the sheet Teflon, the same Teflon we use on the landing gear molds.
Right.
Piece of sheet Teflon over the drawing. And these nice little taping dots, special draft, they're called draft dots. You got these in an art supply store?
Yeah.
The idea is they don't tear up your drawing. Another nice little tip. See, now the problem with Les is he does everything professionally. He's got to learn. We got to get a chainsaw in his hand before this day is out. But the problem in the past has been that even though he's so meticulous, I can't convince him to do things my way. He always wants to do them the right way. We're going to have an ongoing problem here. Anyway, all right, and you made a little jig for the cross members.
To make these cross members, give them the bevel in the corners, the whole 9 yards.
All right, bingo.
And the rest of it's straight construction. These, and help us notch the two. We'll come up with a perfect X member, and then we'll be able to also sand the bevels for the corners. It'll be easy as can be.
Now,
You don't
my
have to sit
my
there.
gut impression is one thing, though, is wrong here.
What?
Is these things are way too thick.
They're way too what?
Thick. I think you could make them half of the thickness. 16.
They're only 1/8 by 1/8. They don't go full depth.
Oh, they're not full depth.
Only
Okay.
1/8 by 1/8. That's where
Okay.
you get the undercut for the crutch,
Okay.
for the fuel tank.
All right, so you're going to do that. See, I did mine with just thin.
16.
Okay. Well, let's see. And you're going to know when it weighs. You can always grind them out.
Right.
If it's too heavy, you can sit with the Dremel tool and grind them out.
Exactly right.
Okay. Build away.
Alrighty. So basically now what I've got to do is I've got to make up some pieces that are a bunch of triangles that are shaped like that. There's 4 of them. We'll glue those down and then put the cross members in there. We'll be able to notch these perfectly in the middle and cut the contours.
And this is going to be your jig to cut the pieces?
Right.
See how meticulous this whole Wes is?
To cut-
Just so meticulous, it makes me crazy.
Makes you crazy. You should see what it does to me.
Well, when he's done, when he's done, boy, are we be in trouble.
Yeah, you're right.
He's sawing that up. I wanted to, hey, look at this. By the way, we're definitely going to be doing that. I'm getting excited about it the more I think about it. Here. Les bought all his basswood, but he also got some of these materials that he got some carbon balsa, carbon Nomex, stuff for us to practice with to make formers and gear mounts, and we don't even know what we're going to be using it for yet, but for sure we're going to be doing something with it. Maybe we can go in a basswood business if this crutch thing doesn't work out. Basswood is nice to work with. It usually doesn't have a lot of grain, so it's easy to put a finish on it. Soft and easy to cut, so it would be, in this case, to make a plug, it's an excellent choice. finishes up his little jig here with the piece in place.
Yeah, just one, where's that little stub I had? Here it is.
Holding one piece in place while you glue the other pieces so we get an accurate. Okay, so now you got a jig to hold the pieces so you can get all the angles cut just the way you want them.
Now, will we do the overlap joint in the middle? We're not going to cut them, we're actually going to overlap them, and what I'll do is I'll just take and put a couple of stubs on here. So we take one of these, put sandpaper on one edge and just down to 1/16 and we're done. You follow what I'm saying?
Yep.
So why don't I do that in now? Why don't I do that now? See, let's remove his fingers.
Well, we haven't seen you cut yourself on camera yet.
No,
But it's a long day and it's not even over yet.
but I'll tell you, I pass out at the sight of blood, especially when it's my own.
I understand. That's the worst kind. Mike Costello's here with magazines, 826 stuff. He's ruining our work ethic here.
More importantly,
You got lunch?
Oh, yeah.
Long as you got lunch. All right.
Good to see you again, Mike.
Oh, we got some 826 stuff
no,
here?
Rob would have said you were here. I wouldn't have felt so
Put upon?
put upon
Oh, I
to go for
see.
the bagels.
What do you got here? More books. What is it? You got any 826 stuff in here?
Yeah, there's a nice 3-view in there.
All right. You ready to start building us, Stella? Yo, shut your business down and let's start building. Come on, you're always trying to make money. Lose the money. Let Rob run a business.
Do double duty.
Let Rob run a business and let's build models. Come on. 826. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is 3/8 by, yes, okay.
See how we're diverting Les's attention. Ooh, these look nice.
Yeah, there's a centerfold in there. There's a centerfold in here, too.
I'm not interested. I want to see.
There's the
All
centerfold.
right.
Yeah, man.
Here's mine, the orange and white one. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I wish those magazines, those
It's the
books wouldn't cost so damn much money.
This is nice with the checkerboard rudder.
That's cool.
Walt Brownell had one like the firefighter version.
You know, you said it was in the magazine where you're playing, and I couldn't find it.
It's in. I'll go get it for you right now.
Here it is. Here's the one.
Okay.
Now, I don't know how close to scale that is.
Well, it's not going to be scale. It's got to be close to scale. It's got to be a stunt. The wing is. See, I was one. The wing tapers almost exactly like the B-25, about 1/3 to 2/3.
Right.
You could just unplug that wing, put the B-25 wing in there. This you can't use. That's too small.
No, that's
Forget about it. But you do. Nacelles don't look that
they're very
difficult to make.
symmetrical. Look,
Yeah,
look.
almost totally
Look at the formers.
symmetrical. Yeah.
You can almost turn them.
Oh boy. Which video is this?
See, this looks real nice. This has got real nice proportions. Could be a nice paint job too. Light on the bottom, dark on the top. That could have some possibilities, Mike.
Here's the one.
Feeding frenzy. Yeah, that's cool.
It's got 3 trucks. Looks like a Monopoly train thing.
A train, yeah.
It blew up a train and
Okay.
2 movie cameras. So it blew up 2...
No, it means it's been in 2 movies. Steven Spielberg probably used it or something.
Oh, that must be what it is.
Yeah, it's movies, that's all. Well, Mike, there's only one way to get these things built. You know what? You know what that way is? Take a wild guess. You got to lose the tie, lose the clean shoes, get down here with Les and start cutting wood. Right, Les? Well, Les is buried in there making crutches today. You just got to bite the bullet and start building, baby.
Start showing up, huh?
Start coming in for the building set. Right along, he went from having coffee and a bagel to an 826 to. Do we have one side of that crutch made yet, Les?
The first one takes a long time.
You should look at this. When is that 826 going to be done?
The 826 fuse is almost finished.
Wow! Listen, look at. I don't have my watch. What's today's date,
It's
Les?
built very quickly in your mind.
What's today's date? Can I peg him down to a date here?
And you're not going to take me down to one either.
Oh. Well, maybe later today we'll see a crutch out of here. The fun of joint building ventures here. The pot of coffee goes down quick. Okay, let's see what you got so far. Oh, he's got it framed out, baby.
Well, yeah, now it's really just to cut the other piece that looks like this, which will fit here.
Okay, this is like an L-girder piece.
And give us
Yep.
the ability to move the tank up, but still give us the strength of the beam.
Now the reason Les is doing this is so he can get a universal, any tank. We don't want to be limited in this case because we don't know where this tank's going to shim with the various tanks that we're going to try. It's all new.
It'll give us the ability to put any tank in there, and that's it.
Okay, so now you just got to do the cross members? Is that what's happening?
Cross members and the X members, but that's relatively minor item. I have to shape that better and then cut the other one. Ones aren't good, but I was looking, that's part of the dilemma. How do you make a strong crutch and still be able to fit any tank in there that you want?
Now, if you notice real close, Les is making this in an I-beam configuration, which pretty sophisticated stuff. Now, he's got a master's degree in, what is that again? How do you say that? But anyway,
You can't say that on camera.
Anyway, this is, when we're done, this is going to be one sophisticated piece of equipment, my boy. You see how Les is making this up? It's different than our other ones in the fact that it's going to have the cross webbing in it. We're going to find out if this is going to result in lighter, stronger, worse, better. Tie, no tie?
We'll know.
I'm not sure.
We'll know in a little while.
Now, using his little jig, he's making up all the little pieces that will eventually be part of this. What I keep reminding Les is, this is really the first plug Les has ever made for a mold, but it's really an insignificant thing of how much time you spend actually making this part, because once the mold is made, you can pretty much make one a day for forever, or make some for your friends, or make them to sell, or whatever. Where when you're making wooden parts, you make a wooden part, as soon as you're done, you got to make another one, you got to go right back to the beginning, where this one, you don't have to hit the reset button. You pretty much can, assuming the part is a usable part, you can just go mold up another one. So there's an advantage to that.
I have to tell you, I'm really pleased with the way this...
Your little jig is working out good there, huh?
Yeah.
Day one ends, and he's got his little Warren truss, little plug almost ready. You going to take it home and sand it, or are you just going to come back tomorrow?
No, I'll be back tomorrow.
Okay.
You can see there are a couple things. We tried a Forstner bit to get a perfect radius in the corners. Not worth the effort. Just took a sanding drum, put it on the drill press, punched it right in. Next time we'll do it a little better, but this will be amply strong, as you can see.
And I got a piece of plexiglass for you to mount it to whenever you decide you're going to work tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just put it while we're ahead. So you've got the drawing. You've gone at least from day one, from the drawing
right
to the plug size.
We've learned what to do and what not to do also.
Now, it's also a lot easier to put the finish on this before you glue it to the base plate. I've learned that the hard way.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
I agree.
And I got 10 jars of hot stuff for us to start. Let's put all of this. I'll make a box for a ZD box.
You can see the whole...
Look at all the stuff he's got.
Loaded. We got enough gas to do 40 crutches.
I think he thinks we're going in the bass business. All right. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right.
Good first day.
Yeah.
That'll work. Hey, Les is all ready to go, and he promises we're going to have a crutch mold at the end of the day, but he's got these are the drawings of what will be.
There are a lot of variations of those. That's with a 2-inch spinner and fairly deep. This is the same, the Xerox are the same one as is, no, this one is, that's Fat Boy. That's really deep.
Yeah, too fat. Really looks fat. I don't like that.
Yeah. Now,
I think the drawing, now this is full size that you have right here?
Right here. This is full size.
Okay, this is the full size one, so. As always, Les is the consummate artist here, so he's got this pretty well, every part of it, and I can only make a few light suggestions, like my thing would be to scoop this back only for the Venturis. The gear are in the right spot if you're going to do a fuse-mounted carbon gear, or in his case he likes wing gear. Nice rudder shape. I'd say you're in Fat City, my friend.
All right. Well, we'll see how it works out.
We'll see if we can get this mold finished up this afternoon.
This is the original thin one. This is closest to this. This is much more slender on this drawing than it is on this drawing here.
Yeah, you're on the border of being fat. You're close.
Yeah, well, I like to have some side area. So,
Get it trued up. That's all you got to do now. True it up.
I want to get some of there's some glue marks.
Some good
Oh, that's nice. That's coming out real nice.
sandpaper on sticky back paper on a piece of glass. Always real handy. Get it all trued up, nice and clean. That's shaping up real nice.
Yeah, that's almost done.
This is the final part that Les has made and basically sanded a little bit on, but we need to mount this to a base plate. See, what we're trying to do is each crutch we're making, we're trying to make it just a little bit different, see if we can make them a little bit lighter, a little bit stronger along the way. But we've already got them that they're much lighter than the equivalent wood part and many times stronger. So as we evolve it, this is a process of evolution, and we're going to get a base plate for this as the next step. And you can see how this one evolved. This we did on a previous video off the wood plug, the rubber mold. So we can pretty much, this is for the Jet 65, the Rojet 65. We can manufacture those now one a day. As soon as we get this one done, we'll send one down to Richard Oliver, let him evaluate it, and we're going to start building fuselages. We've got the plans ready. I happen to have a shelf or a centerpiece from a table. I'm not sure what that is.
Center leaf.
What is that, a center leaf of a table?
Yeah.
That small? How small of a table can that be? Oh, some butcher. I don't know who. No wonder my daughter can't find the center of her table. Yeah, some butcher. I don't know who that could be.
All right, now sand it.
Getting ready to put a couple of coats, thick CA, sand it off with 1200 just to get a little bit. We did a side here just to get. Ooh, that's still sticky.
Oh yeah.
Just to get a little bit of a gloss on it. But let it kick. Do not put kicker on it. While you're doing one thing, work on another side. If you work with rubber gloves, you don't wind up getting 1,000 little dots on your hand either.
All right, so
Yeah, just work, and then while one side's kicking, go to the other side. I think that'll work fine.
is that enough?
Yeah, plenty. Yeah. Just like here. You use the same towel for the whole job. Just, you'll feel it kick, and then just, there you go. Oh, you know your stuff. I'm so impressed.
Don't be.
Chicky is so impressed.
Don't be.
Okay, so as soon as that gets a nice shiny, yeah, smells nice, huh?
Yeah.
And we're going to glue it to what used to be my daughter's dining room table section, and now is unfortunately I'm not sure we know what it is. What is it, Les?
It's the
Yeah, you got to get inside all the little areas. Get in, and if there's any little spots, get them with Q-tip. It's okay. And then once we mount it to the base plate, we'll polish it and wax it. There'll be enough CA on there that we can polish it and wax it. Right. Sometime you need 2 or 3 coats. If you sand through, you need another coat. But you want to get it to where it has a finish. And the basswood, Les brought up a good point. The basswood is a lot easier to finish than a balsa wood, and probably a little easier to handle to make this kind of a plug. But each one we make, we'll learn it a little bit each time, and I guess by the year 2092 we'll be, maybe not, we'll be smarter. Now Les has pretty much got the finish on here that we're looking for. So we laid out on a base plate, put some tape down, because what we're going to eventually do is epoxy this part right down there. Let the epoxy dry. The idea is to seal around the edges, get a nice seal so that the molding rubber doesn't work its way inside. Then when we're all done, we're going to polish it and wax it with part-all wax, and then pull off the tape so that we can build a box out of balsa wood, or actually out of any kind of scrap wood. And then we'll fill that, and we'll have the part will be ready for our molding rubber. Push it around, because you want to try to build up a little fillet around the edge.
I did that. I wiggled it back and forth.
That'll work. Then just take a Q-tip along the corners, and you'll get the corners in there.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh my gosh.
826. 826.
All right, so now what do I do? Just run the corners?
Yes, run the corners.
Right in here?
Yeah, just go right down, like you're putting cork on a bathtub. Right. We don't care about what's going to happen to this part. This is getting ground away. But the epoxy's thick enough now, you can do that. And if you want to hit it with the hairdryer again, the hairdryer will just get it wet, that it'll flow underneath, and you won't get any spots.
All right.
Where it'll be a problem. Once we take the tape up, there'll be no epoxy hopefully there, and we'll make the little box that will confine this little part.
Okay. Let me run the corners here.
Oh, he's got a #1 copy of Always. Look at this. A lot of good scenes in this movie. If you like A26s. I have a feeling we're going to be watching Always later today. The next step is this has to dry. The epoxy has to dry. Mike, you can check that. Now we're going to go over here. Mike has brought his RC Invader Kit, which we're going to obviously take a little look at, see if there's anything we can use on this for our project, or what is now Mike's project.
I've always liked that shit.
One of my favorite movies, even if it didn't have A26s in it. Cows that come with the kit?
Yeah, two-piece deal. The cow, which looks like the bottom of a soda bottle.
It is a bottom of a soda bottle. Why would they make them in two pieces? What?
And then the flaps, the cow flaps.
Oh. Now who makes this kit? Let's see this kit.
This is wing
manufacturing. Okay.
Manufacturing. This
Is it a foam wing kit?
a foam wing. It's a short kit, which means...
Well, I'm glad we're not using that wing. Wow.
Well, this is RC, so...
Yeah, no, I understand. We're just kidding. I want to see the plans. Let's see how big the plans are.
Oh.
Lay them out on the floor.
This is perfect size.
Perfect size, yeah.
It's right on top.
Look at this. They got, this is not yours. This is Dream Girl here.
Yeah, I bought this.
Dream Girl's
I've
another
been
one.
working on this A26 thing, you know, and all of the prototype stuff for a good long while now.
I don't see any wood cut or any molds made yet.
I don't cut wood, so I'm sure what I'm going to do. I've been waiting.
I don't. I cut wood, then figure out what I'm going to
I
do with it.
foresaw 2-3 years.
Oh, look at this. Oh, my God. Plug in a B-25 wing and let's go flying.
Yeah, just shrink that down.
You can shrink the rudder a little bit, yeah. Oh, that's excellent. Oh, man. Brownell, eat your heart out. Walt Brownell is good.
He's got one of these.
I know, he's already flying. Yeah,
I think he's offered it to us.
did he?
Well, he said he had it.
Oh.
He said he had it.
Walt, if you're seeing that, I think this is going to make a nice stunt ship.
The engines are over on their side?
What is this for? Is this the tail or something? I'm not sure.
Packing material.
Not sure we're on the same page here. The wings, yeah, we've just put a bigger wing in here. Hey, it's probably not even a whole lot different. Hey, what is this, the bottom of the fuselage?
That's the top of the nacelle.
Oh, okay.
You get two of them.
I hope so. And what is this part? Just the retracts?
No, that's motor mount.
The motor mount.
This is an RC.
What the hell were they thinking of when they made this?
Don't bruise this.
Oh yeah, there's the canopy. Oh,
Don't
right.
lose that little critter.
You're right.
A front canopy and the rear canopy.
Yeah.
In that box there, just came in the mail yesterday, is the bomber canopy.
The bomber version canopy?
Yeah.
Oh, they make different versions?
Yeah, you can have the gun nose or the bombardier nose. Okay. So without paying extra, you get the
Look
the
at
gun
this.
nose.
3/16 SIG heavy ply.
Don't ask me what that's for.
Just servo mounts or retract mounts.
firewalls or something.
Take that foam wing out. I want to see how big that wing is. Mike, you're onto something here. I think you got this figured out.
The only thing usable in here are the canopies and the plants. Those cowlings, I suppose you could use them, but if you had a fiberglass mold, why would you bother?
No, the fiberglass ones are a third the weight. Much lighter.
Here's the guys in the boat.
These are really not that heavy.
Oh, and the gun turret.
All right, so you already bought it. How much did this kit cost? A couple $100? $100?
No, I don't know.
$50? Would you get at a trade show?
I don't think he's gonna...
Shoplifted it.
No, they were... I got a mail order.
But here's the thing. Let's get this down where the B-25 is and see what we got to work with here. And start engineering this up for me.
Pretty close. I'd say the overall length was...
Go get a ruler. Did you ever hear in America they have rulers? Check it with a ruler.
This is fractions of an inch.
It's not much.
That's about in the same place.
Okay.
Hinge line.
Put the wing right where the wing is. Tail where the tail is. Maybe you got to stretch the back a little bit. Yeah, move it up. Man, it's not much different at all.
No, it's not hardly at all.
You better go home and start making this body.
Here he is, dead sticking.
I don't know. We got to inspire Mike. He just doesn't seem inspired here. And here's Costello watching always laying on the floor begging for a molded fuselage. Great movie. I've watched this 100 times already.
Oh, jeez.
Actually, when they were making this movie, Chris McMillan was we were real close at the time, and he was saying they blew up 2 engines on this plane when they were making the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And they sent out to get a spare engine, and in the course of making a phone call, the answer was bring 2. Cool movie. Anyway, rent the movie. What is this, warplanes?
Yeah.
Oh, he's got other, this is a Cadillac, a 96, okay.
That's when I started
Yeah, very cool. That is, Feeding Frenzy is that's a cool plane.
Is the guy gonna make this here? This landing?
What's that?
Dead sticking?
Yeah, dead stick. He
Got the wheels on the ground.
There's other cool scenes in the movie. This movie is about that real movie, Joe. It's a spin-off on that movie. All right, but look, we can watch movies later. Let's lay out the wing into the A26. Take the wing root and lay it into the body and see what we got. Doing all these measurements, there isn't a whole lot. If you took the airfoil away and put flaps on it, and build it light enough, and make the rudder a little smaller. The rudder is really too big for it.
yeah, it's probably...
You got to cut an inch or 2 off the rudder, some amount anyway. But keep it the same proportion. So there you have it. Go home or go get a tube of glue and start building that body. Build it right out of the kit. Don't improvise anything.
Gotta improvise the wing saddle.
No, the wing saddle doesn't exist as far as we're concerned.
We don't build the wing saddle.
No, we put that in later.
Or the slot for the wing.
Nope, nothing. The body as if it didn't have a wing. You got to make that
How
plug.
do you accurately mark that later?
Make a jig.
Oh, okay.
Make a jig for doing that. You don't cut the hole in for the wing and then make the,
You don't make a hole for the tail either, do you?
Nope. We'll figure out where it is though. So our pole. What is a small plane? I got these planes already. This is like a for
this is
215s or something. This is a smaller version.
From Carstens.
Yeah.
This you could put a Cardinal wing in there or something. That would be.
This uses 219. So
Yeah, it's too small. It's too small. No, the bigger one is definitely going to be better. Look at how short it is too. The bigger one, we just need Johnny's coming over tomorrow to calculate out the wing. Bring him a blank check for the wing, and I'll draw it all out for him.
This is no problem as long as
Woody, Woody, how much fun is it to spend his money? I love it.
Woody, do you know of any problem that can't be solved with cubic dollars?
I've been telling my wife that for 42 years. All it takes is money.
So here we have the original think tank in real time.
New vehicle. All it takes is money, and I can break myself to spend it.
It's why women find men attractive. Cubic money.
That's right. Dollars. That's right. Size of the wallet.
Les won't go for that. Les is waxing. He's got the plug attached. Pour a little high temperature wax. Get in the corners and edges and polish. Dave's polishing up what will be the stab mold, solid aluminum stab mold, for our test, our initial test. See if that shell's going to work out. And he's got the Nomex here. We're going to see if this is all going to make a compatible package real soon. We're going to know very, very soon. The buffing wheel for a little bit of it, but the final little bit you've got to basically do by hand.
That's not your normal two-cycle engine.
What we're going to try to do is get two shells made up tonight. That'll be the bottom of the stab, the top of the stab, then tomorrow, of course, join them and or put any combination of ribs, Nomex, whatever in here. We'll have all night to decide, but we want to get this part in, get some bleeder cloth in, and vacuum bag it. And that'll be our little project for the night here. Let's polish it up nice. Here we got Woody on waxing patrol.
The machine marks.
Yeah, they're machine marks.
I still have it, you can see them. They run parallel and back.
The trick here is before you light it up, get 3 coats of that part on and really polish it up. Really get it dry and clean. Les is right about ready to pour the rubber for this mold. Oh boy, we cruising right along here, baby. I am so impressed. Yeah, it's going to be nice.
Don't be impressed. I just want this thing to come out.
I think it's going to come out great. It's going to be fine.
That should release fine.
You know, the first big pour, he's got his molding rubber mixed, and he's carefully metered it, measured it, and mixed it. How long, Les? Forever.
What day is it?
Okay, now pour it very carefully into all the little slots first, and just let it sink down. You'll see the part come. No, slower than that. You just let it drip like out of a... get that little booger out of there, too, so you don't have that in the final mold. I know what that is. There you go. And just let it sit for a minute. You want to get it in all the lowest spots first. And then let it evacuate some of the air if you can. Like making a cake.
If you did this in a bell jar.
Yeah, it'd be nice. All right, while he's doing that, Dave is geared up to check our bag for vacuum pressure. We got a couple pieces of, this is the only bleeder cloth we have left, so multiple jobs going on all at once. We're so talented.
Where's Woody's pump? What's wrong
in the
with
garage?
What's wrong with that one?
Nothing wrong with it. Is
there a plug on it?
No. Okay, the last step, he's just picking away all the air bubbles. Tomorrow we'll be hopefully having a crutch mold. What Dave is doing, getting the vacuum bag ready to, we're using up an old fitting. You had to put some epoxy to seal it. Okay, now Les has the blue. This is the layup is going to be. The mold is waxed with high temperature wax. We have unidirectional carbon.
This turkey here.
We're going to lay in one layer of half-ounce cloth, and that's because all of the strength of this carbon goes in one direction. Then a layer of bleeder cloth, and then a layer of
we cut it just this way, eh?
breather cloth, and then we got to put it in the bag. This ought to be a lot of fun.
Just short at the end of the table, and if you hold the roll, I'll cut the lengthwise stick.
Okay, just take that off. Tuck the corners so we can lay it flat if we possibly can.
No. Well, when we
use gloves. Don't get that stuff on your hands.
When we put the bleeder cloth on and bag it,
once that's in the bag, it should come right up through the cloth.
All right, now that's
in theory.
This is the bleeder cloth.
Right.
This is what.
Right. Now, when you press that, put gloves on so you can press that down. Because what Les is doing, you can get a lot of it out now with paper towels.
Where are the gloves?
Right here.
Way over in the box. Way over.
Right at Typhoon.
Underneath the Spitfire.
As you're pressing it down, you'll see the stuff coming up, Les.
Yep.
Now you can wipe that stuff out.
You can wipe that out, so we're one step ahead on that anyway.
You have to cut the corners on that too?
I don't think so, Woody. I don't think.
I didn't cut them. I just couldn't get in there.
All right, I'm going to start on the second part because we're in a time window here. We only have about 15 minutes to get these parts laid up. When you go to put this in the bag, it catches on the end, and right. So we need to put like two balsa wood, 2x4s, blocks, anything. Well, you just get in a bag, Woody. That'll do it.
Yeah, I told you, Woody.
Just get Woody in a bag. That'll do it.
All right.
Now you could slide it right in. Now you hold that end up, because it's got to go, and I'll get this down here.
Bleeder cloth.
We'll slide it.
You want to put the bleeder cloth on there first?
I
Put it
would
on.
think you'd want to put it on and...
Yep.
Put it on right now. Yeah.
It's on the chair.
Just lay that right on the top.
I don't think.
Make sure you get it all the way to the end too, or it's going to be a problem.
There it is. There it is.
Now you could slide it in.
And we'll just lay it right on top of itself.
Right.
And then when the next one goes in,
Flip it back. Which just getting the first one in is going to be a problem.
That's it. No, we'll just
Okay, that's okay. No, it's okay.
We'll just reach.
It always wants to do that. That's always a problem.
We'll just reach in there with.
Pull this wood away. Okay, there you go.
There you go. Now you got to...
That's what the answer is. Just catching that wood.
Put it all the way to the end of the bag as far as it'll go. It's okay.
As far as I can reach. That should be fine.
That's good. Okay. Now do the same thing to the second one.
Ready to go in? Yep. Looks that way.
And then flip the cloth back. Can you reach in far enough for that? Okay. We'll get a piece of wire and hook it.
I'll try not to get any epoxy on it.
There you go.
Killing two birds with one stone.
Look at this. What a master of
Yeah, but we gotta,
disguise.
well, don't, not too much praise yet.
This.
Pull the wood out. There you go. Now you got to seal up the end of the bag with these
All
channels.
the way to the
Well,
end
we still
here.
gotta. We'll work that down, guys.
Just get that. That seals that end of the bag. If you have to, you can run duct tape along the whole end of the bag.
Now, see, the guy who invented this is from a company in Massachusetts, and he made it for himself, and he wouldn't sell it hooked up.
Okay, as soon as we're going to pull a vacuum, then we got to start walking down these parts. Get it on
That
there?
should suck.
Okay. Now just try to get this, that it's only this part in here that we care about.
Yep, the rest of the thing can.
Get it? That we're not pulling this in, that we get it up in all the corners to get nice shells. See how that pulls the shape right out, the suction? Oh yeah, you got it. Now
what
get
you got?
this, before you get a lot of pressure, get it, pull it out, all these corners and edges, press them down.
What you got is you got the weight of air pushing it down.
Especially the front and back, these edges are where it's going to want to pull up.
Yeah, the tips, well, I don't know, I'm concerned with the tips.
Don't worry about the
The
tips.
tips don't matter.
They can cut off.
You just keep rolling it out, we're going to get this all pressed in.
The trailing edges.
Trailing edge, Dave, this is already pulled up, so we got to do this before you get 15 pounds of pressure here. Get extra material on here. You see here, it's not conforming to that trailing edge.
No? Yeah, it's pulling up right in there. What about a dowel where you can just...
What do you think? Is he behaving himself, Woody? He's a good boy. Yeah. All right, we're basically going to let this go till tomorrow with the vacuum pump running. And that was our accomplishment of the day, laying up. This will be the prototype unit of the carbon fiber tail that we're going to try to make in the next couple of days. I want to say the accommodations here stink, but look at where he's sleeping.
Where there's a wild bear sleep. Anywhere he wants
He moves the airplane rack. All my carbon fiber gets ruined, and he's sleeping. Look, it's like a bug in a rug. Yeah. Look at his watches on the floor.
I can't see it in the back anyway.
How could you stand and smell with those shoes? There's odors coming out of those shoes.
to his head.
Look right by his nose.
No way.
Something just fell over in the line. Well, everybody's having a problem this morning. See, you never want to come to Wendy's without your own aero bed.
Great.
Actually, the truth is, we were going to get one of those rubber inflatable dolls and sneak down here and stick it in the blanket. But Jacobone wouldn't load us his rubber doll. He already called this morning. He wants to go flying. I said, forget it. I'm going to take this out of the bag and see what we got.
The other end of the bag.
Okay, wait, we'll take this apart. Let me feed Chicky. Chicky's up here saying, what the hell's going on here? What is going on in my little house? Chicky! Finding that you can pull up the felt, the batting, but we still have the bleeder cloth on here. This is, by the way, this is the point at which, myself included, a lot of people get frustrated because it's hard to pull that up in one shot. You've got to go nice and slow, little by little, pull that piece up. It comes out looking like this, and to get all of this material off, it starts with the bleeder cloth. What happens, all the extra epoxy comes up through the bleeder cloth, and this is the thing that allows this part to actually be made. So you have the carbon, half-ounce glass, because this is unidirectional, we need some strength in this dimension. Then we have the bleeder cloth, and it has the bleeder felt. And we only got about 10 pounds of pressure out of that vacuum bag, so that was kind of disappointing, but whether it was the bag leaking or the pump just bottoming out, we don't know yet. We're certainly going to find out.
From the Battle of Midway through to the last day of
the shell's totally formed, all the material pulled off. These, of course, come right out. We've got some imperfections in one of them, and one is perfect. But for a prototype piece, it's good. Now, what Dave is doing, give me that piece. We have one of the polywogs that'll put a reverse curve in the balsa wood. We want to make a strip front and back. One, so that when people launch the plane, they don't have a tendency to squeeze that, and the other one will act that we can use it for the hinges. This is the better of the two, isn't it? No, for the first part. This worked out very well. And is it heavy? Dave's loving it. Thanks to Dave Midgley, we now have our pond covered. We took the time this morning to put the cover on and to put this fish to sleep for the winter. And we'll see them in the spring. The little part we did with the sanding puts that little bullnose on. And that bullnose piece is now going to fit right into there. Dave's cutting up the Nomex. This is 3/8 Nomex. And we're going to pre-assemble one side and then glue the top clamshell on and see if we're on a positive note here. I don't know if positive note is the right word. I think it's going to be good.
It's going to be perfect.
That pond cover looks great.
You like that?
Engineered by Dave the Pond Cover Midgley.
Pond King.
Pond King.
Pond King.
Because we know the Nomex is heavier than we want it to be. Dave is cutting up a piece of 3/8 foam, just ordinary 3/8 foam from a foam wing core. And we want to get a feel for what that's going to weigh. Again, we've also thought about we're going to get a brass tube and put lightning holes in the Nomex. And the same thing with the foam if we can't meet our target weight here. The core material, this is 18. This is 6.5, and what we really like to do is lighten up the foam. The foam, what was the foam, 9 less?
Foam is 7.
Okay, so
8.
the foam is just a gram or two heavier than the amount of wood it would take to fill us with ribs. So what we're trying to do is Les is going to make up a template for a hole, and we're going to put 1/2-inch holes in it, pretty much make Swiss cheese out of it. Next step, Les is doing a computer-generated plot of where the lightning holes have to go.
But
you sure you don't work for a Swiss cheese company?
we can take out 6.5 square inches of this stuff.
Okay, take it out, baby. And now this is John Duncan's son, who used to be called 50-50, but he's big enough now that we call him 60-60 or 70-70 or something. How tall are you now? Well, you got to start dressing like, American though.
What's your mother?
What is this? Look at his shoes. They don't stick out of the sock.
What's your mother?
How do we know you have feet? How do we know you're not wearing roller skates? Look at his shoes. Let's give him an ass whooping while he's bad. He needs a. Hey, no fighting in my shop.
The only,
Let's hold him down and trim his
That's what I was gonna do. We were gonna hold them down and trim the pants.
Oh, Hyperbipe. All right. Hyperbipe. Eat your heart out.
look at that.
Wow, that looks cool. What motor's in there? Max LA?
Just a box stock LA 46.
All right.
46, yeah.
You finally figured out how to get these wings cored out, or you just didn't core them? John Duncan, the king of foam. Look how many he brought us 6 wings here. Oh my God.
Oh my God, look at this thing. 46 LA.
That looks pretty cool.
Been retimed.
Look at this thing.
Holy
Well, there goes the end of our production for the day.
Oh no.
Just when I thought we'd have a tail made, forget about it. Forget it.
Look at the size.
Yeah, that looks
of this
cool.
kid. Hey, where's the gap filling CA there, Snappy?
I like that easy detach. You gonna fly it with that string holding them on?
I mean, before, she'd bend. She'd
3
come right
inches.
here.
Yeah.
And now with the,
You put glass ellipses in it?
yeah, 2 of them. One
Okay,
here, one here.
that's a good idea.
There's a spar in it.
But you see, with a bike, it's interconnected. So once there are interplane struts on this, right?
Yeah.
Once you connect them, it's going to make it very rigid. That'll stiffen it right up. Pretty cool.
Yeah. It's got 2 pieces
I
of
did that to my
saw right
collection
ply here
elevators
on
already.
each side.
Yeah.
Put 'em on.
The spars have to be, I think they're right about that long.
Okay.
The notch, and it's got a notch in the top of here to fit into. One thing I'm working on is how to figure out the mountain struts where it's gonna be tight and strong.
Yeah, maybe we should make a part out of balsa wood and put a finish on it, and I'll make a mold. Then it'll be carbon fiber. You'll
All
never.
set, Les?
It'll never break.
You just make a plug. I'll make the mold.
You're losing 6.
Okay, so Dave is going. Don't over glue it. You need half of that amount of glue,
I
Dave.
put the dope on, you wanted to pour it like this.
And the CA that we waxed the aluminum mold so that it would stay, hopefully stay nice and straight while we're doing this.
The tissue right over that one, did them both. And, with wet. He's an example.
Straightened in retirement, he has turned to making Swiss cheese for a living.
That's right.
How do they get the holes in Swiss cheese, Les? Oh, they take a knife.
They use holy cows.
Holy cows, right? Yeah, this is, he's setting the world's record for Swiss. Why don't we just use Swiss cheese for coring material? Yeah.
There you go.
I don't know, Dave. Can you trust him? The man from Swiss cheese.
Can't trust us.
He's the slowest son of a bitch I've ever.
Look at this. The Jets are scoring again. Jeez. Unbelievable. That's part of building that Wendy's, huh, Johnny?
That's right.
You come down with balsa wood, you leave with pizza. How's that one look? Oh, sausage.
Ooh,
Whoa, man.
nice.
Hey, Dave, give him a piece of pepperoni. Give me a piece of the damn pepperoni. Here, you guys.
Yeah, but that's for you.
Oh, he needs a bigger piece. Watch this. That way, Woody. See, this is the way you get a bird to love you. He can't come out of the cage. Look at this. He's got it. He's got it. No feathers and all.
Wait, checks now, Wendy?
Put it right in upside down. Make sure you get all the dust off it. All a little loose foam off of there. Okay, we're using these little cup ends that John Pothier gave us, 2 to 1.
Just like opening a priority.
And these work good. We use them all the time in the shop. We're going to coat the complete perimeter with epoxy, and then just use contact cement on the foam. Put the foam in, and then put it in the mold. Let the mold actually clamp it, and hopefully nice and true. The mold is already waxed, so even if some epoxy oozes out, it shouldn't. We'll find out. It shouldn't stick. Same thing we used to do foam wings.
Is that what you're talking about?
Well, see, Woody, we don't put on an extra coat of paint.
No, for all purposes, you could take this out and fly it the way it is. You can't do that with a wood airplane. You've got to put at least something to keep the oil out of the wood. That's one of the changes, is you can fly this in car. In fact, that Ukrainian plane, the guy sends it, it's just white. There's no paint on it.
Gel coat, right?
Yeah, just boat coat.
Is that all?
Put a piece of tissue in there just to give it an extra little compression. And now Dave's got to put the bolts in one by one.
Where'd they go?
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I don't know, I thought it was gonna happen
And then take them out. It takes the paper out with it. Then you get a nice hole.
Now you take it out, hook it up to an antenna, and hoist it up in the air, wait for the lightning storm, and then it's alive.
Now make sure when you do this, you get them all like you're torquing a head on a car. Torque it equally.
Woody knows how to do that.
The Woody's okay. I don't.
Just bringing them down.
And we'll just let it sit for a couple hours while we work on something else. We get the skins made. You get the best side. Put a little mark on what side you want to put the glue on.
It's already done.
Okay.
Bada bing, Mr. Damorell was right there.
Bada boom.
Okay.
Where did that?
We sneak down to try to catch Woody sleeping again, but he's already put the tent away. Jar Jar Bean has put the tent away. Oh, man. Come on, you got to learn. If you're going to work in this shop on a daily basis, you got to feed Chicky. That's Joe. Look at Woody. You got a hangover? You got to feed Chickadoo. Let's go.
Look at this guy.
Let's go see if our molds have cooked any parts overnight.
Yep.
Dig out the mold. Let me just take all the bolts out of the mold. Take the tail out, and let's see. Well, when you open this, open it very carefully. Don't just put, because one part may be stuck to one side if any of the epoxy used there. Even though we waxed the mold. Do it very carefully. First part that's out, Dave's already taken it out of the mold. It jumped right out. No trouble getting the mold apart, right?
Dropped out.
Okay. Here's the seam is, for all purposes, perfect. You could just sand that seam. It is as
The
straight.
seam is incredible.
It's as straight as an arrow because it's been cast in a mold. The weight is exactly what we wanted. Here's what the problem is. Now, where we mistakenly put the holes. Actually, if you put smaller holes, it'd look like honeycomb.
Right. A whole bunch of smaller holes would look better than that.
But I don't like that look. So somebody in aerospace might like that look. But the other side doesn't have it because we only had the tissue compressing it on one side. And this has those little molding flaws which we know about. So,
For the first piece, though.
and it's 10 times stiffer than it ever has to be. There's no way you'll break that in a model plane. You can make a B-25 tail out of that. In fact, we could sell this to Mike Costello.
It is.
It's not. The weight is acceptable. Here's what we need to find, though, as always, is that we'll get Johnny to cut the cores without the lightning holes and thinner material. You just physically have to
thinner
find.
material.
Or the other choice is sand it.
Thinner material than this?
Yep.
Where do you find that?
Well, that's the problem. That's the problem, is finding it. They make it, but it's very expensive. Don't put a dent in it. You know what's nice? You put that plane in the back of your car, you just put it back there. Uh-oh, Chicky doesn't like carbon fiber parts. He's losing all his feathers. Chicky, you're losing. Look at, he's got no feathers. Satisfied for now with that tail, but we're going to make another one before Dave leaves. We have enough material to make a second one. And what we're going to do is, Les Demet is out at Home Depot getting us a backer board for this. Dave has gotten, this is going to be the mold for the wing of a Cardinal, a standard Cardinal. Let's show the bottom of this, Dave. It's going to be glued onto a backer plate. It's half of the wing, made off of Cardinal templates. And we're going to try to fashion up a mold very soon for a standard Cardinal. Are you ready to sheet here? Yeah, get all the sheeting. Step one, even though this is not it's not actually a wing, we want the skins to stay down, is vacuum all the dust off. We were out even late last night after dark sanding wing skins, and I had this piece of plexiglass I was using. Ryan supplied that. Look at all this dust. See, this is the stuff you leave in your house if you do it inside. Now, because these wing skins on a mold, we don't care what they weigh. You can be real generous with the glue. Using 3M77 cement. We're going to try to get this by the time Wes gets back with the backer board from Home Depot. We'll have these skinned and sanded and ready to go. What are you like? He's eating like a rich man here. He says there's wrinkles in the plastic cover for the pond. And he promises he's going to get them out while we're doing the wing.
The best restaurant in town.
The only one open this hour of the morning. Okay, you ready on skins? We're doing several projects at once. Dave is out doing the other cores, but again, this is very similar to the first one. We're going to make the wingtip blocks. We have another day today and half of another day, but this is just an unqualified success. This is just, we're going to try to get another set of skins made up today. We really shouldn't have put the holes in the foam. That was what we're going to try is something a little bit different. We're going to try just using carbon and 30-second balsa laminated right to the skin, and then a thinner piece of foam. Again, if to develop something like this to where it's really a doable thing, you've got to try several different types of material, kinds of material, and eventually you hit on something that's the right strength and the right weight. We got the weight right, we just don't have this part of it. So it looks like this is going to be less than its tail, since he's put all right Les's part on it. Okay, this is...
Alright, that's covered.
Now see, here's a problem. If this were a wing we were using, see how you've got too much glue here?
Yeah. I loaded it right up.
No, but in a mold it's okay.
Yeah, no,
But if we were using a foam wing... Okay.
Way.
Then let it dry even longer than we normally let it dry.
Here you
Okay.
go. Now, do you want me to go do the other one now?
Yep, do them both. We just go right through. Technique that I've always used is and I'm trying to get Dave to do it the same way so we're all on the same page. I tape the trailing edge of the sheet down, and I try to line up the core from the top the sheet is bigger than the core, get it parallel to the leading edge. Once it's parallel and you've got a little bit hanging out, you drop the leading edge down and then roll it. And then you've got to do this thing that we call babysitting for a few minutes while that front piece is drying and back. As soon as it's dry, then we'll put on the leading and trailing edges. He's got them all pre-cut. And always having the parts all pre-cut is very important. Now each time we make one of these molds, we learn little tricks, the little do's and little don'ts. And this is one of the benefits of having it all on video. We can share that with the other people interested in this. Now the only way you can go wrong here is if you have it over the edge, where when you roll it down the trailing edge rolls off or something like that. And I thought what I used to do is don't get too close to the leading edge. Leave yourself, an inch.
Believe me, I've left myself.
Okay. And then just roll it. Get the front down nice and tight and roll it.
Down.
Okay. And just roll it. You're all set. The leading edge is not going to stick real good. We know that because you're going to have to get in there and pinch it. You get the trailing edge to stick real good too. Now get the leading edge to that right there. Run your hand till that sticks real good. Then, as soon as that's dry, we'll glue on the leading and trailing edges. You'll trim the front. Extra glue, what happens? It takes longer to dry. So you got a baby.
Sticks.
The babysitting takes forever.
No, it sticks.
It's sticking good? Okay, now you could trim that and I'll start mixing the epoxy so we can get the leading and trailing edges on.
Oh, let me get the other one.
No, do one at a time. Get the leading, as soon as you get that on there, get the leading and trailing edges on. Don't give it any time to ripple off. I'll get you a sanding block so you can true that up. Keep it 90 degrees if you can. Now what I did while these guys were doing that, I glued up just from a kit, 2 wingtip blocks. Now what we're going to have to do is, when you make this part, it can't come to a point as a wood plane would do. It's got to have a little bit of a curve right in the middle so we can get a 90-degree joint. So I'm going to put a piece of tape right around the center line, and Woody's going to do the carving and sanding into that, but not to take the tape off. The tape is where we're going to actually make the joint in the final mold. So we just have 2 pieces of 1/8 inch and a piece just for his reference. And as you press it, you can see the center line. We'll carve from all. Woody's an excellent carver, so we'll give him the job of carving up these tips. But the most important thing is they have to be exactly symmetrical. So when you take the left shell and the right shell, one isn't a 64th of an inch wider, or they have to match up. When this is glued in place, they have to be an exact match. I decided to use tight bond instead of epoxy just to make this, put the edges on, but normally when you're doing a foam wing, you want to do this as quickly as possible. So it's nice to have the A team here on staff. Or the M team. Should I say it's the M team? Just try to square this with 90 degrees too. That'll help. Tight bond on it, and then just take the leading and trailing edge, and then we'll wait for Les to get here with the base plate. Oh, we got to do the tips. Getting ahead of myself. Plenty of glue on there. We don't want to have that come flying off, that's for sure. Just a little bit too much glue here, so just a little, about a quart. Can get it out with the Q-tip here, pick each tape up individually and just get underneath it, just to save yourself some sanding later. If you take one at a time up and just get out, get every little bit out, you'll save, there'll be a good saving later on, that's for sure.
Yep.
How you doing on those parts, Woody? We all set?
I'm ready to get a curve on them.
Okay.
Get a mark on them.
Trying to lay it out proportionally here. Master carver. A lifetime of carving balsa wood. Woody, you got a look on your face like maybe you need a prune or something. Modeling is supposed to be fun, Woody, not painful. Look at him, he looks like he's on the electric chair being executed.
I think you got the toughest block you could possibly find.
Of course he did. Well, of course. What do you think? I'm going to use a 4-pound block to make a mold?
That's the object of the game.
Use up the heaviest piece you have.
What do you need, a prune?
And you're closing in on the second one. Bada bing, bada boom. Today it really is a cold, one of these northeast days. And I wanted to find, I tried several different kinds of sandpaper to see which was going to be appropriate for sanding this. And I found out the old Porter cable tool with some 120 or 180 just did a nice job. Remember, what we have to do is get scratches in this. We don't want to sand through it, but we want it to be a rough surface so that the first coat of finish that goes on there gets a good tooth. And the Porter cable seems to be the tool of choice. Now, we've been having a good weekend as far as everybody pitching in, everybody doing something, but the ultimate result, we hope, is going to be a set of molds that we can make multiple planes from somewhere down the road. If you more than likely do most of your building alone, let me make a suggestion. Try teaming up with other people. Or I know Jim Borelli and Bob Lampione, they build together. We tend to try to get as many people involved at the shop as we can. It's just a lot more fun. And this is the advantage. You can't do this realistically with balsa wood. It just doesn't work. All we're trying to achieve here is get a rough. We just want to get a rough surface so that the first coat of finishing material goes on here. It'll have a tooth. It won't be like trying to paint a piece of glass. The other point is, too, when you're doing balsa wood, you're always making a surface that as soon as you come by and go like that, you've got a dent in it, or you put a fingernail in it or something. It's always delicate. Once you get to this point, you can basically abuse it a little bit. You can throw it in the back of your car and, you know, well, you don't leave those little dings in it all the time. So what you're buying actually is some life, hopefully some life expectancy. But there's no reason not to try to figure out a way that we can do this with as many power tools as possible and as little hand labor. That's one of the other goals we have. Now, I always look for, you want to wear a mask if you're not shooting video, of course, because this dust, you do not want to breathe it in. Not good for you. So this roughing, sanding, using the Porter cable went a lot quicker than I thought, and I just dressed it off with some ordinary sandpaper just to get around the edges and stuff. But basically what I always try to do is either do this by the vacuum bench, wearing a mask, or outdoors wearing a mask. And every once in a while, just change the cartridges or throw the mask away, because this dust, this is like balsa dust. It just gets to you after a while. Okay, so you're working on a leading edge. Make sure you keep vacuuming that every once in a while.
Oh, I do. Believe me.
I know you're a good man. How did Fruity do over here? Fruity's all covered with chips over here. You know, we used to think George Venturini was balsa man. You look like balsa man.
Check that out. No sandpaper.
All right. Well, that's why we pay you the big money, Woody. This is here. What are you just making? A thing for your drawings?
Well, no. This is going to give right here. It's going to give us what the hole in the crutch should be.
Okay, gotcha. All right, we got some video from Warren Walker and a whole box of stuff. I'm not even going to open it right now. We got a box of T-shirts and pickles and coffee, but he's got some Reno video clips for us to watch here while we're doing this. The next step is we're going to be joining these two pieces together, because we need to get this radius to cut. It's going to be flat on the front now because you've got it thicker than it has to be. But you want to have at least where this ends to be flat. You know what I'm saying, Dave? Are you going to do round trailing edge?
I was thinking we should do a round trailing edge.
Of course, it's easier to get the mold to work. It's a lot easier to get the mold to work that way.
All right, let's tack glue this together.
Tack glue, make sure it's real Tape it together first to make sure it's accurate.
Tape it first.
Tape it and make sure it's true in every dimension. Otherwise, you're going to get, it's going to be a problem.
All right, Woody. You're going to be shaping the leading edge more than the trailing edge, so hold your trailing edge.
You're going to hold the trailing edge.
Hold your trailing edge.
Warren Walker, whoa, back this up, wait a minute. Back it up, Warren, sorry, we got to back you up. Anyway, we love having these Reno, especially because we don't have our real Reno race things here. There we go, boom, the ray falls down. In other words, where we have the gap here, this is where
The gap is...
we got to make sure these
fine.
touch each other perfectly.
No, the gap...
Oh, here's the Reno Air Race thing again from Warren Walker.
The show does go on. As you
There you go, Mustang man. There's my favorite, AT6, baby. Oh, man.
Second crash, the pilot Mike Gacy of Punta Beach, California, walked away uninjured. Says he's amazed by the will of the pilot who's flying.
You don't want to put any pressure on that, Woody, when you join it together. See how you got it squeezed? Make sure it's symmetrical. There shouldn't be any pressure on that.
Pilots do live for the thrill of competition. Men who are feet from where Tommy Rose of Hickory, Mississippi, was running in fourth place in the sport plane class.
I love flying. I love aviation.
The love of airplanes is why the State Airport and taxis.
Hey, that P-38 out there. We got a bunch of still photos. We're not going to have room on this video, but we will have them soon. Warren, of course, was at. In fact, he called me from the Reno races. Were you here when he called? There's Warren right there. That's where he called me from. Yeah, I just called Wendy and I told him, eat your heart out. Oh, man, we love having these videos. All right, how's this coming there, Chickadoodle?
Talk to anybody, and despite the inherent danger.
This will get us a real accurate representation of the wing cutout on Les's plans when he draws them. I guess you can't get more accurate than having the actual core. And what did Johnny do? He cut this as a separate piece?
What it did was
From a core.
Yeah, he cut the panel from as we specified it.
Okay.
And then simply took, I think this distance is 1 5/16 right off the middle. Now, what I guess it got him was 235 panels, because we have this, which I've done already, and I also have another one.
Of course, they'll just put a little dummy leading edge on that too. Give us a little bit of accuracy into our final set of plans that we're going to have for this plane. Les is going to draw them over for us.
See, here's his, this is from the other side.
Okay.
All right? You can see, this is the root template here.
Oh, yeah.
Got his center line.
Okay.
Once he cut the panel, he just cut 1 5/16 off.
Oh, okay.
And you can see.
So that should be dead right on the money.
Exactly.
I'll line this up now with...
Two on that end.
They're there. With 2 center lines, because we have to allow for the thickness that's coming out here.
Motel. We're listening.
You're on just putting double tape on it, because again, we have to account for that thickness. And we want these 2 pieces to come together right at 90 degrees when we're done making the mold. There you sand in the leading edge, my man. We're ready to pull Les's mold apart. Let's pull his mold apart. Les, you want to pull that mold apart?
Say again?
Pull a crutch mold apart?
Not yet.
We're just going to break the wood away. This mold will be ready to go. In the course of basically Summer Midgley's visit, we got 2 days left. We got a tail finished, even though it's only a prototype. Foam wings sheeted. We got our vacuum bag stuff ready. Has his little part ready for finalizing our plans that are going to go into print this week. Break it away or cut it away, it doesn't matter. Now we'll just peel it back nice and easy. Great adventure will go on and on and on. It never ends. Up and back as it goes. Just try not to just rip it off. Just ease it off, because there's a lot of non-draft angles on it. They're all 90 degrees. You lucky dog. No, there's no part of that that's a problem.
You can trim these little edges with a razor. With air bubbles. But they sand right off. You gotta sand that edge off anyway. Okay, that's a good mold. That's a done deal, and we're gonna start laying up a crutch.
We can use it at the one.
That's the deal. Another part in the bank. Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of new stuff. We're experimenting a lot. We're trying a lot of new stuff. We're gonna be making tune pipes by the next tape, I hope. And a lot of traditional building, all on this year's subscriber tape.
There you go.
How about that? Everyone's